Hello, my name is Christopher Bonilla, and for my final project, I'll be talking about malware analysis. So, we are now in a point in time where a lot of people are dependent on their computers and smartphone and devices in order to do certain tasks, like applying for a job, creating a business, etc. However, numerous threats are created by online fraudsters that make it troublesome and concerning to perform these tasks without the proper knowledge and protection of malware. Now, what is malware? Malware, or malicious software, is software specifically designed to gain unauthorized access and/or to damage a computer system without the owner knowing. There are different types of malware, such as spyware, ransomware, viruses, worms, Trojan horses, adware, or just plain malicious code that unknowingly enters a computer system. Interestingly enough, malware was created originally for experiments and harmless pranks, but recently malware is now created and used to vandalize and destroy their targeted machines. So here's a brief description of malware analysis. It is the process of learning and understanding how certain malware functions and any potential consequences of a given malware. There are reasons for uh, there are reasons for analyzing malware. One of those reasons is that if a company, institution, or organization believes that malware has infiltrated its system, a response team will take care of the situation. They'll perform a malware analysis on any potentially malicious files that have been discovered. They will then determine if the files are in fact malware, and if they are, then how dangerous is that malware, and how will it impact the systems. The second reason for analyzing malware is that there are academic forums where malware researchers will perform malware analysis so they can have a better understanding of how malware works. And third, the sellers of software solutions and products may perform robust malware analysis themselves in order to potentially find new malware, which would benefit the organizations because now they'll be able to defend themselves against malware attacks. There are four stages of malware analysis, one of which is the fully automated analysis. It is one of the simplest and fastest ways to analyze dangerous software, and the idea is to scan them with fully automated tools. They are able to quickly assess the capabilities of certain malware if it were to enter the system. The second stage would be the static properties analysis. To get more in-depth look at malware, it is essential to look at the static properties. The static properties include hashes, embedded strings, embedded resources, and header information. The third stage is the interactive behavior analysis. There are times where, in order to analyze a malicious file, it needs to be put in an isolated laboratory to see if it affects said laboratory. Analysis will monitor the laboratory to see if the malicious file tries to attach itself to any available hosts. With this information, the analyst will be able to replicate the situation and see what the malicious file would do once it was connected to a host. This is an advantage over the fully automated over the perform over the fully automated analysis. And the fourth stage of malware analysis is manual coding reversing. If we were to reverse the code of the malicious file, we can decode encrypted data that was stored by the sample. find out the logic of the file's domain, and see what other capabilities the file can do that weren't presented when performing a behavioral analysis. So how did I perform malware analysis? Well, in order for me to analyze malware, I used the Oracle VM VirtualBox to create a Windows 8.1 sandbox. After I created the sandbox, I went on the internet to search for malware samples that I can use to analyze malware. There's a website called www.decimalwork.eu that claims they collect malware from all kinds of shady places on the internet. The malware sample I chose to observe was a file named this string of letters and numbers, and it was detected on April 16, 2018. After I downloaded the file, I went back to the internet and went on a website called www.virustotal.com to perform a fully automated malware analysis. When VirusTotal detected the file I downloaded, 53 out of the 70 virus scanners said that the file had malware in it, and 7 out of 8 users claimed the file to be considered unsafe. I have also used another file called, there's another file if I could find it, called Wildfire Test PE file. I used this. This was also considered a malware that can be used for testing to see if it was a sample I've gathered from the internet to use to test malware. And when I use VirusTotal to detect this file, there wasn't much that was found. It was considered generally safe. Whereas this file here, the one with the huge string of numbers and letters, as it shows here, 53 out of 70 engines detected this file as dangerous, that had malware in it. Some from even, notable popular virus scanners such as AVG, I believe one of them was Avast, Bitdefender, Adware, stuff like that. Like these well-known virus scanners detected this file and found that there was malware to it. And if we go here to where there's not a lot of users on this website, but 7 out of 8 people, as I said before, considered the file to be unsafe. And as you see here, if we go to details tabs, there are like basic properties of the file, where like the file type is a Win32 executable. Just the history about it, the name of it, portable executable info, stuff like that. Malware analysis is important for understanding how malware functions, especially since malware attacks are constantly increasing as the days go by. And just a little afterthought after doing this project, this was my first time performing malware analysis, so I was initially confused regarding the tools necessary to do this, which is why I decided to do a fully automated malware analysis, because it was generally considered the easiest and fastest way to do malware analysis. regardless, but regardless of that, I found analyzing malware to be a very interesting concept. It was very insightful. It was something that I never really thought of. We hear all the time on the news, the internet, stuff like that, where you hear all about these attacks of malware and stuff like that, like ransomware, but we're never taught or learned that there's a way to analyze this stuff, figure out how this stuff functions. And all these tools is always just about like, who's it affecting, what is it, who created it, and that's it. It's never really how exactly was it made. With that being said, I am glad I researched about malware analysis. I performed it, performed one of the ways to do it, and yeah.